This is a reading of Chapter 4 from the book Muscle and a Shovel by Michael Shank. Chapter 4, Yellow Scrap of Paper, November 30th, 1987. Was I religious? Nah, no more religious than the next guy. Did I believe in God? Sure. Did I believe that Jesus Christ was God's son? Absolutely. But I was not brought up in what you would call a religious home. My parents simply did not go to church when I was little. I got started in church by a little elderly woman named Eula, who lived next door to us. Eula knocked on our door one day when I was about 5 years old and asked my mother if it would be all right for her to take me to church with her. Mom agreed, and from that point forward, I went with Eula every Sunday, being slowly trained up in Eula's faith, the Baptist faith. Most of my friends went to the same Baptist church as well. Attending church was like going to school, the grocery store, with Mom, basketball camp in the summer, or our small town Dairy Queen. The Baptist church became a part of life. Church was a weekly event, just like our family vacation was a summer event. However, was I religious? No. Ask me if I was a Christian and I would say sure. However, I believe that, due to my salvation experience, at the wise old age of 8, I could live pretty much any way I wanted, because I was saved. I did not really need to worry about it, and that's how most people I knew thought about it too. The reality was that while I wore the name Christian, Christ could rarely be found in my everyday life. Getting saved was an event that everyone did, but it was not a lifestyle. I compared it to buying a fire insurance policy with a one-time premium. I paid the premium when I was 8, but it did not require me to live in the insurance office, so to speak. My teenage years were wild. It was the 80s, and I had the hair, the clothes, the music, the selfish drive for money, personal ambition, and a love for partying. I liked to drink beer, experimented with marijuana, cursed like my friends, and lived like the rest of the world. My friends and I all wore the label of Christian, but there was little difference between my lifestyle and the world around me. It all seemed very normal at the time. After all, I had been saved, and once I was saved, I would always be saved, so it did not really matter what I did. Little changed in my personal lifestyle after getting married. I went to church once in a while, did not kill anyone, did not rape anyone, never stole anything, did not do any serious drugs, obeyed the law, worked hard, paid my taxes, took care of my wife, gave a little bit to charity during TV telethons, and even gave $1 to the homeless guy holding the cardboard sign around Music Row once in a while. For all intents and purposes, I was a good guy, right? That was enough. Besides, I just didn't have much time for religion. Janetta and I were building a life together, and we wanted the finer things that life had to offer. We wanted a big home with an Olympic-sized pool in a pretentious suburb, a 7 Series BMW, a Range Rover, a summer home in Colorado, a winter home in the Keys, residual income from investment accounts, fine clothes, vacations around the world, expensive jewelry, a yacht moored in the Carolinas, a housekeeper, a groundskeeper, an accountant, a stockbroker, an attorney on retainer, and of course, an aggressive college account for our future brood. All of the things that young and aspiring materialists desire. God's program simply did not fit very well into my program. OSI Data Solutions was just the first small stepping stone. My ultimate goal was to be a software CEO in the Silicon Valley with a 7-figure salary and stock options. We arrived in Nashville after a much-needed Thanksgiving break. We were back in the city to chase the dream. A mixture of sleet and snow was falling that Monday morning when I stepped through the back door of OSI Data Solutions. Randall was not around in the shipping area. I was relieved that he was not there because I was still a little uncomfortable over backing out of our Bible study the way that I did. Oh well, you cannot unring a bell. I went back to the office, organized the day's agenda, and then followed the rest of the herd towards the company's outdated conference room on the second floor for a mandatory company meeting. Jackson Jack Stavik owned OSI Data Solutions, and he had some news to share with the organization. Jack was soft-spoken but formidable. When the room quieted, Jack announced that his son would be taking over as CEO. It was as if he had announced that the company was shutting the doors. Ledger, Jack's son, had no experience in the industry, nor had he earned the respect of the employees. Ledger was arrogant, and very full of himself. He had a 6,000 square foot home in Brentwood given to him by Daddy. He drove a 325i convertible BMW that always had his oversized touring bag of ping golf clubs in the back seat. Ledger loved to flaunt what his daddy had earned while giving the pretense of his own importance and self-worth. The kid was a complete contrast to the modest, hard-working, get-your-hands-dirty kind of guy that Jack was, and the OSI employees resented Ledger deeply. At any rate, after the news of change filled our ears, everyone filed out of the smoke-filled meeting room. Randall caught me midway down the wooden staircase that exited into the paper warehouse. "Hey, Shank, wait up," he said in his chipper way. "Hi, Randall, what's going on?" I replied. "I want to ask you something," Randall said as he sidled up alongside. "Do you have to be baptized to be saved?" "Of course not," I said without a pause. Then he handed me a small torn piece of notebook paper. It was a corner piece from a yellow legal pad. A Bible verse was scribbled on the scrap. 1 Peter 3:21. He said, "Check this out, man. I'll catch up with you later." Off he went. I was scheduled to go to Lawrenceburg that morning, which was 83 miles from Nashville. Our company had a Medicard patient admission systems at Crockett Hospital, and the system was down. Troubleshooting the hospital system had taken all morning, but the final diagnostic test was successful, and the admissions staff was back in business. It was the lunch hour, and Lawrenceburg had a McDonald's. I opted for the drive-thru, then escorted my Big Mac and fries over to the David Crockett State Park to eat in solitude. There was no ambient hospital noise or nurses complaining in the background, just AM talk radio. There was a new guy on WLAC 1510 out of Nashville. Rush Limbaugh was his name, and from what I could tell, it was some kind of political talk show. He was an entertaining guy, no doubt, but WLAC's weak signal carried a lot of static, that far out of Nashville. The yellow scrap of paper lay there in the console, 1 Peter 3:21. What does that say? It would have to wait. I did not have a Bible in the car. Strange. No one had ever handed me a Bible verse. That was an odd thing to do, wasn't it? As I pulled into OSI's lot at 4:45 p.m., Larry was walking out to his car. He was already heading home for the day. Larry had just started carrying a Bible in his briefcase, but don't ask me why. "Hey, Larry," I hollered across the lot through my roll-down window. Larry turned and smiled when he saw that it was me. "Hi, Mike. You go to Pulaski today?" he asked. "Lawrenceburg," I corrected. "Oh, mileage check is going up," Larry grinned. I laughed. "So are gas prices." Gas was running $1.05 per gallon. Ridiculous. How high were they going to get? "Hey, grab your Bible, would you?" I said to Larry as I got out of my car. He was over at his red Pontiac Sunbird. Did everyone at OSI drive Pontiacs now? "You doing that Bible study with Randall?" Larry asked, remembering our pre-Thanksgiving conversation that Kirk had interrupted. "No, I got out of that, but he did a handoff after the meeting this morning, and he gave me this." I showed him the yellow slip of paper with the verse on it. Larry took a look. "I'm curious to know what it says," I said. Larry took his Bible out of his briefcase and opened it on the trunk of his car. He thumbed through the gold-edged pages, having trouble navigating the conglomerate of names in the Holy Bible, the Holy Book. After finding the right book, Larry asked for the chapter and verse again. I repeated it, and he found it. He handed his Bible over, and I read the verse quietly to myself. The verse said, "The like figure whereunto even baptism doth also now save us, not the putting away of the filth of the flesh, but the answer of a good conscience towards God, by the resurrection of Jesus Christ." 1 Peter 3:21. Larry, look at this, I said, handing the Bible back to him while pointing at verse 21 with my index finger. Have you ever seen this verse? He read it quietly to himself. No, I guess I haven't. But it's faith that saves us, isn't it? Well, yeah, of course. Baptism is some kind of work. Hey, I'm going to ask my pastor about this verse and I'll get back to you. Thanks, Larry. See you later, Mike. I walked towards the office as Larry drove away, wondering about the verse and why Randall had done the handoff thing that morning, but everyone in S&R was already gone for the day. This verse required a religious expert.